Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels of a Thought, number 1487. Today we have Epictetus. Let me see if I can get this thing on right. Hold on a second. I've got some technical shit going on here that I didn't realize was supposed to be here. Yeah. Okay. Then, all right. Sorry. Gosh. Clocks. And we are going to go into the Stoic man named Epictetus, edited and translated by Robin Waterfield. And in the Roman days, they talked about virtue too. In fact, the word for man is vir, V-I-R, which is part of virtue. Vir. Virtue was a big deal back there. So my hope is to impart some good inspiration to educate people with a little entertainment, which will bring morsels of a thought of wisdom. Knowing what to do is a form of wisdom, and then doing that is called virtue. So hopefully with my show, we're bringing some virtue into the world. And here we go. Table of Contents Part 2, 2.1, that confidence and caution are not incompatible. 2.2, on tranquility. 2.3, to those who recommend people to philosophers. 2.4, to a man who had once been caught in adultery. That was a good section. 2.5, how are greatness of mind and carefulness compatible? 2.6, on indifference. 2.7, the correct way to go about divination. Okay, so we'll go to, well, this is going to go up to 26. All right, so let me just pause here. We're different, okay. And then 2.8, the essence of goodness. 2.9, that despite our inability to fulfill our potential as human beings, we assume the mantle of philosophy as well. 2.10, how the names that a person bears reveal what behavior is appropriate for him. 2.11, the starting point of philosophy. 2.12, on argument. Okay, I'm going to quit right here for the time being as far as this is concerned. And we're going to read a bit. I want to choose this. Oh, dang. Did I just let go of the page? I let go of the page. Shoot. I had a page I wanted to read to you. Okay. A note on the translation and a preface. So after what I will do is read the table of contents as I read each chapter. So it will come out to 2.14. Let me take a look. Tuneso 2.14. Now, see, they don't tell you that. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, the preface. It has been a great pleasure to work once again with Susan Beilstein and James Whitman Toftness and then Dylan Montanari at the University of Chicago Press. And it was also a pleasure to have the typescript assigned to a skillful copy editor, Lori Meek Schult. Schult. I received useful advice and suggestions from the readers who assessed the book proposal and the finished draft. Tony Long, the doyen of Epictetus studies and even of Stoic studies as a whole, was kind enough to act as one of the final readers, and I am particularly grateful to him for making me focus on the issue I address in the note on the translation. Charles Brittain also read the final draft of the book and gave me an extremely helpful and detailed report. Many improvements were made in the light of his comments. This book was written under COVID-19 restrictions. It is, in any case, my usual practice when writing a book to ask friends and colleagues to send me offprints of articles of theirs that are unavailable in the online archives, but denied access to libraries. It was especially important this time. I am particularly grateful to those Brad Inwood, John Sellers with an S, Ron Polanski with a Y, who sent me copies from their collections of articles written by others who were unavailable. William Stevens supplied a whole book, his translation of Bonhoeffer's 1894 Die Ethik des Stoikers Epictet. And I should also thank the publisher, Peter Lang, for letting me see an advance copy of the 2021 revised edition of the book. Alexander Meus's, M-E-E-U-S-S, oh well, apostrophe S there, Alexander Meus's generosity extended to making material available to me from his university library at Mannheim, M-A-N-N-E-H-E-I-M. In the process of translating, I consulted Radcliffe with two F's, G. Edmonds III on incantations, David Martinez on puzzling ethical datives, and Bill Murray on how to capsize a boat. I thank them for their help. That's cute. That's very funny, going on a boat and capsizing it. I had a doctor, and when I was a child, we used to have an extra house in Lake Tahoe. We didn't get to keep that for long, but it was in South Lake Tahoe, and it was a condo, and it was the backyard was the Lake Tahoe. It was a little inlet. So nice. I could put a raft out there and just raft around. It was really safe because it was surrounded by 5 houses. It was like a little almost circle in there. It was very safe, and there were no waves in there, and it was the lake. It was dark green inside with tons of minnows. Anyway, so, and catfish at the bottom. But anyway, so I don't eat catfish anymore. Anyway, so the doctor borrowed the house for a little bit with his family, and he happened to fall off the boat. And so he told us about it, and I got to go and talk to the doctor. And I said, how did you like to swim with the minnows in Lake Tahoe? And being 7 years old, that's a wonderful question to have, you know. Okay, so note on the translation by Robin Waterfield. Robin Waterfield says, I have translated the following texts for the handbook G. Boter, Epictetus, Enchiridion, Tubner, 2007, for discourses J. Solhay and A. Jagu, Epictete Entretien, 4 volumes, Boudet, 1945, 1949, 1963, 1965. For the fragments, W. Oldfather, Epictetus, the Discourses as reported by Arrian, the Manual and Fragments, 2 volumes, Loeb, 1928. These are the most recent available editions, but for Discourses 1 have also had on hand H. Schenkel's groundbreaking but out of print Epicteti Dissertationes ab Ariano de Gestae, 2nd edition, Teubner, 1916. However, there are many places where I differ from the readings of these editors. They are marked in the translations by an obelisk or dagger. It looks like a crucifix, which points to a note in the textual notes, pages 431 to 433. An asterisk in the text indicates that there is a note on that passage in the explanatory notes, pages 367 to 430. The notes and the introduction are designed more for students and lay readers than professionals in ancient philosophy. See, we're studying ancient philosophy, aren't we? Yes, we are. 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 The translation that I consulted most is the one by R. Hard, Epictetus Discourses Fragments Handbook, with introduction and notes by C. Gill, Oxford University Press, 2014. My policy, as in all my translations, has been to try to combine accuracy with current English fluency and readability. In one important respect, however, I have not followed current English practice. I have not gender neutralized Epictetus's pronouns. Epictetus often talks about or addresses an anonymous he who is either a fictional person acting as a foil or one of his visitors or students who appear to all have been male. To have all been male. To neutralize this person would have misrepresented Epictetus and his world. He was writing 2,000 years ago at a time when male dominance was simply assumed. Nor was it possible in ancient Greek to write about people as opposed to things in a gender neutral way. In fact, to neutralize their gender in some linguistic fashion was often an insult. In any case, it is clear that the anonymous he that Epictetus talks about or addresses is meant to be masculine because the people and creatures to whom he is likened are always masculine. It is not just that he is likened to Heracles and Theseus, for instance, but to people with professions or occupations that in the ancient world were exclusively masculine. Wrestlers and other athletes, actors, there were actresses in Rome, but not in Greece. And Epictetus assumes Greek culture. Orators, soldiers, at one point he is likened to a fighting cock. He can be waylaid by sexual attraction to girls. He can be called a son of God. He goes to the male bathhouse. He stands for office in Rome. So I have largely preserved Epictetus's usage in this respect. And here's a map of Greece by Andras Beresnay. Okay, this is a map of Greece with the Ionian Sea, the Adriatic Sea, and the Aegean Sea. The print is so faint that you may not be able to see it, so I'm going to read it. It is the Adriatic Sea is up here. The Ionian Sea is over here. And the Aegean Sea is over here. Okay. And of course, these geographical locations are still the same as they were. Athens is somewhere right around here, and I've been there, I recall. It was a fun trip. Introduction. 4 great expositors of Stoicism emerged in Rome in the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. Seneca the Younger, Gaius Musonius Rufus, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, an imperial courtier, a member of the equestrian order, an ex-slave, and an emperor. Despite being men of their time, their voices reach us clearly across the centuries because they speak always to our common humanity and our best aspirations. Since the work of earlier Stoics exists only in fragments, the surviving writings of these men constitute for us by far the most detailed record of Stoic philosophy. Oh, gosh. And this was, she had, 431 to 433. We've got 431 to 433, 431 to 433. Yeah, I think I put it here. 431. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Here we go. Okay. The first note says, here, for scholars and those who may be comparing different translations, I list all the places where the text I translate differs from those of the editions I have used, for which you see page that we read. They are marked in the translations by an obelisk or dagger. The punctuation of the discourses is frequently so difficult, and decisions about it so subjective, that I have not listed those places where I differ from the text in this respect. Where, for instance, I read a sentence as a question, not a statement, or where I extend or shorten a stretch of direct speech. And this one is on page, I want to say page 16. Anyway, I retain, oh my God, that's in Greek, with the majority of the manuscripts. I can't read Greek, and I don't know how to pronounce that. It looks like Jesus Christ. Sorry. Anyway, so next paragraph. Seneca focused on writing, and his books, plays, and letters were widely disseminated in his lifetime. Musonius Rufus was a popular teacher, and some of his lectures were transcribed by students and published. Marcus wrote for himself, and his private notebooks, known to us as the Meditations, which we have read all of, did not become widely available until after the 10th century. Epictetus focused on teaching. He wrote nothing himself, but some of his lectures were transcribed or summarized and quickly became well known. Within 50 years of his death, he was praised at length in a rock-cut inscription from Pisidia, southern Turkey, and anecdotes about him were cropping up in other works of literature. Within 100 years, one writer asserted that Epictetus was more widely read than Plato. The fundamental question that his teaching was designed to address is, how must we live if our lives are to be subjectively fulfilling and objectively worthwhile? And his answer was, get ever closer to yourself, your true self. I'll read that again. His answer was, get ever closer to yourself, your true self. And I will say, this is Yin Yang saying, in my practice of the Yenqing life science technology, 以德为本, that is exactly what we do for virtue. That is exactly what we do for virtue. Get ever closer to yourself, your true self. 以德为本, same thing. Chinese. That same thing. At the heart of his teaching is an easily understood and insightful distinction. Some things are not up to us. They are external to us and just happen to us, but our minds are our own, and we can control our internal states and our responses to events, our desires, inclinations, choices, judgments, and intentions. In short, all the things that make up our characters. These things are up to us and cannot be thwarted by anything or anyone or anything else. We need to learn to accept experiences and events over which we have no control, to recognize them as indifferent, neither good nor bad, and with no contribution to make our happiness or misery, and to use them as the materials on which to practice virtue and appropriate action. Virtue and appropriate action. We need to see them as gifts in the providential God who steers and arranges everything in the universe, great and small. In this way, fated events become opportunities, not constraints. If we understand that our happiness does not depend on our bodies and possessions and careers, but on the mental faculties that are up to us, we will free ourselves of negative emotions, those that are not supportive of our natural potential for goodness, and our rational faculty, the distinctive part of a human being, will begin to work better now that it is uncluttered by unnecessary reactions. Okay, this is the cure for depression. This is the cure for depression that I just read. That is the cure. And in our current day, contemporary vernacular now, people are teaching us that. Therapists are using this theory. Okay, back to the book. It will begin to judge things correctly, and since everything bad that happens to us is the result of our own wrong judgments, we will start to live well. It is a fact of our human nature that we have all the resources we need to achieve happiness and a smoothly flowing life. No one empowers or disempowers us except ourselves. Moment by moment, we need to assess our mental condition to make sure that we are focusing only on things that are up to us and not letting externals worry us. That way, we can take control of our lives. How many people out here can say the therapists are telling them exactly the same thing? Huh? 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 Yeah, yeah. I get very excited. This focus on what is up to us increasingly aligns with the reason, with a capital R, that guides the universe, the Logos, which is God, with a capital G. For the human soul, in its rational respect, is a fragment of God. Rationality is our birthright and an inalienable human capacity. When our rational faculty, is working well, we can act freely as independent and responsible moral agents, perpetuating the divine plan for the world by always acting virtuously. And virtue, which is the proper functioning of the soul in accord with its nature under the guidance of reason, always fulfills and benefits us and those around us, so that virtue is the essential prerequisite of happiness and peace of mind. If we are virtuous, nothing external to our minds can make the slightest difference to our happiness, not poverty or ill health, or even the imminent prospect of violent death. We therefore need to safeguard what is ours, our mental faculties, and turn away from everything else. Since it is our nature's goal to be rational and to act virtuously, it is the job of philosophy to help us realize this potential by curing us of attachment to everything about us that is not conducive to this end. By relying on reason and focusing only on what is up to us, we will be fulfilling our nature as human beings, which is happiness. And there is no one in the world who does not want to be happy. It will take hard work and total commitment, and no one should undertake the work unless they are prepared to change. A teacher such as Epictetus can show the way, but he cannot do the work for us. Theory, information, and advice from others are useless unless they are acted on and put into practice by the student. This is what my show is about, morsels of thought of wisdom, which are things to do that are the right things to do and that make the world virtuous, because virtue is the actual doing of the right thing to do. So, everything he has said in these last two paragraphs has been a cure for it's on page 2 and 3 of this book. The cure, it's the anti-depression cure, and it is the motivation for us to perform virtue. Okay, I will see you later. Okay, old Kinderhook.